Everyone, JJ here, just working down and around in my studio and coming out of a long winter hibernation. Not a video I had kind of planned on making or anything like that, but unfortunately I was just made aware of a former bandmate of mine who just passed away, and I thought it would be a good time to just to come on and kind of talk about the time him and I shared together and the influence the band had on me. And the band is Thor, and the musician that recently just passed away, his name was Steve Price. And Steve was the long tenured guitar player in Thor's band, in and out over the years, but always like, kind of a stalwart of the band, and, contributed quite heavily to one of, in my opinion, might be the best Canadian heavy metal albums that was ever done. For those who are unfamiliar with Thor, Thor was, how best to describe Thor? Muscle rock, I guess. I don't really know. It came up in the 70s and had a couple of hit songs. Keep the Dogs Away was maybe their best known kind of song. But when you got into the 80s, the band kind of, tended to embrace this really kind of, more of a hard rock sound. And they were, at the time, probably somewhat on the cutting edge of kind of that new hard rock sound. They came around at a time when, Metallica was still in their infancy, and, they were putting out albums at that time that were, akin to like an Anvil or somebody like that. Just great songs and, a really cool look for the band. So the album that I was really influenced by with Thor was an album called Only the Strong. And this is kind of like the perennial lineup for the band, maybe the most well-known kind of era and everything like that. The singer, the fellow in the middle, his name is John, and he was, kind of like the front man and he doing movies and things like that. He was in a fairly infamous movie called Rock and Roll Nightmare. It's one of those cult kind of B horror movies, and so that's where I knew Thor from, and checked out the music and discovered this album. And just the songs that are on this album are just like, a ton of hard rock, like just classics to me. They didn't really get the huge kind of like break that other hard rock bands from this era did. It doesn't take anything away from the songs. Songs like Knock 'Em Down, Let the Blood Run Red, it's a mouthful, When Gods Collide, Rock the City. My favorite song of this is a song called Ride of the Chariots. And all great songs. And back in 2009, I was playing in a band called Ashley Blade, and an opportunity came up for the members of Ashley Blade to become Thor's backing band for a short run of dates that he was doing within Canada. And so all of us in the band were, fans of Thor and knew the material. So it was an easy gig for us to kind of step in. It was basically myself, the bass player, and the guitar player, and we filled in. And Steve Price and John Thor were the original members coming in. And at the time, they were doing like an anniversary for the movie I mentioned earlier, Rock and Roll Nightmare. And so what it was they would show the movie, and then we would play a few songs in the theater, and just kind of a shortened set, and then we would do extended sets at a club later on or something like that. So just really a handful of shows, but we did spend quite a bit of time in like rehearsals and kind of getting to know each other and stuff, and you know, all traveled together to the gigs. And so, you know, these guys, John and Steve, they had quite a few years on us. You know, they might have been at least 30 years our senior, and so the van rides back and forth, you know, from gig to gig and from venue to venue, were always filled with a ton of amazing stories, and just you know, a peek into like, you know, what it was like to be, you know, a touring act in the 80s, and all the shenanigans that kind of went with it. And it was a lot of fun, and the shows were really, really well received. And it's amazing to see that there was, like, you know, a fanfare still for the band and the music, and its association with that movie. And so yeah, we did a handful of shows together. You know, had a great time, and you know, I kept up with the band through the years, and the goings on, and Thor himself is still continuing on, and you know, he's got a new lineup for his songwriting partners in his original band, and Steve, you know, continued on working in music, but on his own separate projects and stuff like that. But yeah, unfortunately, just saw the news that Steve passed away, and I thought I'd come on here and just kind of share an experience with him. If you haven't, a lot of people may not be aware of Steve. He was highly regarded amongst guitar players back in the 80s. Still regarded as well, but at the time, you know, he was being compared to like Jake E. Lee and Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen, and he was, you know, a shredder, and just a you know, a great guitar player, great stage presence, and you know, he's a wacky, just a wacky character when it came down to when we did our shows with him and stuff like that, and full of stories. And you know, you could see the brilliance in him kind of peek out when the guitar was strapped to him and stuff like that. So luckily, a few of those performances have made their way to YouTube, and so they're there for prosperity. And so it's always a nice memory for me to go back and watch those, and remember you know, the times that we had. And so yeah, I'd encourage you to check out the album Only the Strong if you're in for a good dose of 80s heavy metal. You know, the leather, the hair, the whole package is all there. And yeah, there's some great songs on here. And just want to extend, if they do happen to see this, I'd extend my condolences to John and to Mike Favada, who was the original drummer, and still quite good friends with Steve, I know, through the years as well. So yeah, my condolences to anyone who was a friend of Steve, who knew Steve through the years. And if you got to experience him playing, you got to see something pretty special. So yeah, this is the one about Thor, Only the Strong, and my friend Steve Price. Cheers.